Now, let's look at the slightly advanced but very practical use case. Many times we work with large Excel workbooks containing 10, 20, or even 50 sheets. Navigating through such workbooks become messy. So what we want over here or in such cases is that we want an index sheet which has the list of all the sheet names with a clickable hyperlink and a back to index link on every sheet. Instead of writing a VBA macro from scratch, we can ask ChatGPT to write the macro for us. So let's see how we can do this. Here we have an Excel workbook with multiple sheets. So this is the same workbook which we used for our formula section. So we have multiple worksheets over here, and navigating through one worksheet to the other is very difficult and messy. So let us try to create a simple VBA macro by using ChatGPT, which will help us create an index through which we can navigate to different worksheets. So we will again go to ChatGPT and write our prompt over here. So let me write the prompt. So the prompt is, I am working on a large Excel workbook. Can you please write a macro to create an index with hyperlinks to specific sheets? The index should have the sheet name and should be formatted professionally. Also, each sheet should have a link at the top. Let me mention the cell also over here. At the top in cell H1 to go back to the index sheet. Let's see what ChatGPT gives us. First, it is explaining what this macro will do. So, create or recreate an index sheet, list all worksheets, add hyperlinks from the index to each sheet, apply professional formatting, add a back to index hyperlink in cell H1 for every sheet. So, here is the VBA code, and it is also giving us the steps. So, we'll follow these steps, copy this code by clicking over here, and what it is asking is press Alt plus F11 in the Excel workbook, go to insert module, and then paste this macro, and then press Alt plus F8 to run the macro. So let me go back to the Excel sheet. We'll press Alt plus F11. So when we press Alt and F11, so we get Microsoft Visual Basics for application. So this screen comes up. Now we want this macro in this workbook. We can also add a module, but let's say we click over here. So once we click, we get area where we can paste the macro. So this is the region or area where we can paste the macro. So I'll press Control and V. Now we can save the workbook and then run the macro. But let's see how this macro works. If we click over here on run and then click here, so the macro will run. Index is created. So if I go back to the Excel file, so we have our workbook index. Let's say I click on XLOOKUP 5. So this takes me to the XLOOKUP 5 sheet. And then by clicking back to index, I can go back to the index. So in the matter of a few seconds, Excel has created the macro for us. So we see that this macro is not a simple macro. It's a long macro, and it would have taken at least an hour for us to write this macro. This is how we can use ChatGPT to generate Excel macros for us. Now let's save this file, or we'll press the shortcut Control and S. So once we press Control S, so since this workbook has a macro, so we get this screen that the following feature cannot be saved in a macro free workbook. This means that we will have to save this file as a macro enabled file type x.xlsm. So I'll click go back, and then I'll select the folder here. If I go to this list, so we have an option Excel macro enabled workbook. We'll choose this, and then we can save the file. So now this file is a macro enabled workbook. So the macros will work when we open this file again. This is how we can use or create Excel macros by using ChatGPT. In the next video, we will see how we can generate insights from large data sets quickly by using ChatGPT. Thank you.